MAGA world is freaking out. And it's all because Trump's own people brought up the one topic his base wants to stay in the shadows, the Epstein files. Now they're turning on Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, and even Trump himself. Before we show you the meltdown, here's the context to understand how it all started.
Donald Trump, and take it with a grain of salt, has promised full transparency when it comes to most of the big conspiracy theories of the past 60 years, something he campaigned on in the lead up to the election. The issue led to an absolutely Hall of Fame interview clip.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
Yep, Epstein. Sure about that? Maybe not Epstein. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files being made public. I mean, here he is in 1992 dancing and leering at women with his buddy Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. In 2002, Donald Trump said Jeffrey Epstein is, and I quote him here, a terrific guy. It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files to be made public.
Donald Trump loves to talk tough about transparency until it gets personal. 9/11s? Sure. JFK? Absolutely. But Epstein? Suddenly it's, well, maybe not. And we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Really? That's the line? This is a guy who called Epstein a terrific guy while partying with him on camera and literally bragging about how Epstein liked younger women. It's not hard to guess why Trump suddenly got cold feet on this one. But here's where it gets interesting, because the Epstein files were finally released. And just wait until you see the twist. Here's the clip.
Thing is, many members of Trump's base do. The Republican House Oversight Committee sent multiple letters to Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding the Epstein files be released. Bondi then went on an apology tour to Fox News, promising the documents would be released imminently. Today, the White House made a big show of handing a bunch of conservative influencers binders labeled the Epstein Files, Phase 1. But the whole stunt was a bust.
What's interesting is we're all waiting for bombshells, we're all waiting for juicy stuff, and that's not what's in this binder. That's not what's in this binder at all.
It is the biggest disappointment I think that you'll find. I encourage you to do your own homework on this. It's mostly procedural jargon, Glenn, heavily redacted.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, the Florida Republican leading this charge, said of the binders, all caps, "This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment."
So, MAGA's long-awaited Epstein Files Phase 1 drop finally happened, and it was an absolute flop. Instead of bombshells or juicy secrets, what did they get? A glorified government brochure with black bars everywhere and procedural jargon that makes C-SPAN look spicy. Even their own influencers were like, wait, this is it? And Pam Bondi, Trump's personal crisis PR puppet, hit her usual cable news circuit, promising big reveals. But when the binders came out, even MAGA loyalists like Anna Paulina Luna were shouting in all caps, "This is not what we asked for." You'd think they'd be mad about the economy, or Trump's foreign policy, or the fact that eggs still cost more than gas. But nope, the biggest MAGA meltdown lately, over the Epstein files. And that disappointment, it didn't stop there, because next, even Cash Patel, Trump's own foot soldier, couldn't defend this disaster. And what he said on Fox News, oh, it sent MAGA into full-on freakout mode. Watch this.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file.
And there it is, MAGA's own Cash Patel now saying clearly Epstein killed himself. This man, who spent years feeding conspiracy theories to Trump's base, is suddenly like, hey, I've seen the file, it's a textbook case, move on. That sound you hear? That's the sound of every right-wing message board imploding in real time. Now, before we get into how MAGA turned on him and Trump instantly, let's be clear about one thing. This is not some internet mystery to casually debate on Twitter. Jeffrey Epstein was a violent predator. He destroyed lives. And the people surrounding his story, they've treated it like a punchline, like political political candy to toss to the base. Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Trump, they teased bombshells, promised transparency, and then handed us a heavily redacted coloring book. It's a game to them, but to the victims, it's not a joke. And every time they downplay it, mock it, or use it for clout, it becomes more revolting. Apparently, even some of their own followers have had enough, because now the MAGA base is coming hard for Cash Patel and for Trump, and it just got messy in the next clip.
Traitor. FBI's Patel and Bongino infuriate MAGA fans with Fox interview. A Fox Morning Futures interview with Donald Trump's top 2 appointees to the FBI created new problems for the administration after they both stated unequivocally that Jeffrey Epstein took his own life in a jail cell while awaiting trial. You said Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. People don't believe it. Host Maria Bartiromo pressed FBI Director Cash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in the prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know when someone takes their own life when you see it. And that's what that was, Patel replied. Bongino backed up his boss, telling the Fox host, yes, he did take his own life. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file, that's what he did. That did not sit well with supporters of Donald Trump, though, who have long believed there is a massive cover-up in the deep state and have been frustrated since the president's re-election that cover-up is still being maintained. On X, Bongino defended going on Fox afterwards, writing, I was asked about the details surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's case. I have reviewed the case. Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. There is no evidence in the file indicating otherwise. I'm not asking you to believe me or not. I'm telling you what exists and what doesn't. If new evidence surfaces, I'm happy to reevaluate. That did not satisfy some in MAGA world, though.
MAGA world is melting down because now Trump's own FBI guys are saying out loud what the base refuses to hear. Epstein took his own life. Cash Patel and Dan Bongino go on Fox, say the quiet part out loud, and suddenly they're branded traitors by the same crowd that cheered them into power. And when Bongino tried to clarify it online, that just made it worse. It's almost poetic. The conspiracy crew turning on their own creators. But this article, it's far from over. And where it's going next, it gets way messier for Trump.
Dan, I want to believe you, but according to the most experienced forensics pathologist in the world, Dr. Madden and Dr. Civil Weck, there's no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life. Then the videos were off and guards asleep. Nothing to see here, just as is bull. Do better, Dan, as this definitive statement by you that Epstein took his own life is hard to reconcile with the facts that we know of, complained America for USA on X. Praying for the Trump team, advocate Snowwolf696 added. It is almost like Dan Bongino is trying to destroy what little shred of credibility the FBI may have by saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life.
The MAGA base is boiling over, and the outrage is getting louder by the hour. Cash Patel and Dan Bongino thought they could calm the storm. Instead, they lit the match. Now, even hardcore Trump influencers are turning on them. They're quoting forensic experts, calling Bongino's claim bull, and accusing him of trying to destroy the last shred of FBI credibility. This was supposed to be damage control. Now it's full-on rebellion from inside the Trump camp. And the MAGA fury, it's still building. You can hear it loud and clear in this one right here.
I watched both of you and Cash Patel's body language today with Maria Bartiromo. I was absolutely shocked by what I saw, almost as much as I was by your answers to her questions. Who has bought the both of you? Your answers about Epstein, J6, and Crossfire Hurricane are the exact opposite of your positions over the past several years. Unbelievable, claimed Trump Forever Seahorse.
When someone named Trump Forever Seahorse starts yelling at you on the internet, you know MAGA's in full meltdown mode. This guy's furious, accusing Dan Bongino and Cash Patel of being bought, saying their answers were the opposite of what they've been pushing for years. Even their body language offended him. Really? That's where we are now. And honestly, Seahorse might speak for a whole wave of angry Trump supporters who feel betrayed by this Epstein shift. This is no longer a conspiracy theory for them. It's personal. By the way, leave a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. But now back to the video because it keeps getting uglier, as you'll see in this next clip.
Jericho, whose bio states conservative America First, contributed, it sounds like you guys have spent a lot of time building excuses than building a case. And saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life is an insult to our intelligence, and I never thought you would do us like that. Just yesterday, I defended you and said I still trust you. But after the interview, I no longer do. You have turned your back on the people who made you, trusted and respected you, and it's devastatingly disappointing. RFK Jr. and Trump supporter Stacey E.R. wrote, "Oof. I trusted him until he blocked all of us for asking for help with this trafficking. Wonder if he is going to start blocking us again under his new position." Conspiracist The White Rooster suggested Bongino has changed since he abandoned his far-right podcast by writing, "You definitely were more transparent when you worked by yourself. Just saying."
The MAGA crowd is shattered. Betrayal, broken trust, and full-on seahorse-sized drama. They're calling Bongino a sellout, accusing him of blocking fans, and even dragging his old far-right podcast days into it. And yes, there's one last MAGA mascot meltdown coming, and it's a good one.
Soldier Trumpist argued, "You're a liar, Cash. Epstein didn't take his own life. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're as bad as all the other government gangsters. The entire FBI should be disbanded, and the sentiment only grows as your tyrants continue to behave like this. Traitor."
Not exactly the warm support Cash Patel was hoping for, but maybe MAGA needs to stop for 1 second and realize something important. These guys, they've probably been lying to you the whole time. Cash Patel isn't new to dishonesty. He's built his brand on it, and when he lied in Congress, that wasn't just shady, that was perjury. Want proof? Here's the moment he got called out for it, and it is brutal.
There is no legal bound against you telling us right now what you testified to.
When I asked for my transcript to be released,
Sir, did you or did you not commit a crime?
Senator, I did not commit a crime.
Then why won't you tell us what you testified to?
Because it occurred over the course of 3 weeks. I don't have the ability to recall everything I testified to, but I'm asking you to put my transcript
Did you testify to
out.
witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents?
Senator, what I testified to is best captured by that transcript in real time.
So you're not willing to tell Congress, after making many pledges today about transparency, whether or not you testified to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents. In the name of all the values you have said today, did you or did you not testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents?
I testified accordingly and under oath, and I encourage you to get that transcript.
And by the law of our land, you are free to tell people, what are you hiding from Congress? Answer the question. Did you testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents, yes or no?
Senator, the grand jury testimony is available to you. I encourage you to make it public.
This right here, this is fire. Cash Patel squirming under pressure like a kid caught cheating on a pop quiz. He's being asked a yes or no question and somehow gives a 3-week memory loss monologue. Transparency, he says, right before dodging like he's in a courtroom obstacle course. He could answer. He knows the law allows him to, but he won't. And that tells you everything. This isn't just shady, it's wildly obvious. And MAGA still wants to believe this guy. Well, they might want to buckle up, because now we've hit the final part, and it's completely unhinged.
As you likely know, the second volume of Jack Smith's report about the classified document case is not public yet. To fulfill our constitutional duty of advice and consent, the President, on nominations, members of this committee have asked the DOJ to review the report. Do you agree that Congress should thoroughly review its nominees? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, last question, and I'll be done. When you and I met, you told me that you wanted to remove 11,000 FBI personnel or move many of them, and you said that again today. You have looked at an org chart to understand what offices and functions that you'll be pulling from. I don't think you've done a serious analysis, but I do think you have an assignment from Donald Trump to gut the FBI. You said yourself, I'll shut down the FBI Hoover building. There are people specifically that you are targeting, I believe. And do you agree that you have already prepared plans to remove certain individuals from their offices? For example, individuals that will be replaced by political personnel. The political personnel that are being put in an institution that you and I discussed that has no political appointees but one, the political personnel involved These names, Erica Knight, Tom Ferguson, Greg Bitzner.
So Cash Patel doesn't want to just reorganize the FBI. He wants to give it a makeover, like it's a failed reality show. He's got names. He's got lists. He's basically playing FBI Survivor. Tom, you didn't make the cut. Please pack your clearance badge and leave the Hoover building. And all of this comes from a guy who once said he forgot what he testified under oath. Yeah, let's definitely put that guy in charge of replacing 11,000 federal employees. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, we'll be watching this circus and calling it out as long as they keep giving us material. And trust me, with Trump's crew, there's always more coming. For example here, click on it.